Alameda Apodaca is a broad avenue with cobble streets and is one of the most iconic spots of Cadiz. It is a perfect place to walk and relax as you look out over the bay. It dates from 1670, even though it has been refurbished on numerous occasions that explain its appearance today. Built by the sea, facing the old city walls, as you stroll, you can admire the geometric patterns, enjoy the shade of the beautiful trees that provide the area with rich and colorful vegetation. The street is decorated with glazed ceramics and wrought iron, and the designs of the lampposts are outstanding. There is also a buffer of parkland between the coastal walls and the buildings, which is where you will find shady parks. These parks offer a place out of the sunlight to relax. Sit down on any bench along the Alameda Apodaca and look out to sea through its balustrade. The place is perfect for fishermen who looks for peace. Cadiz has 4 old ficus trees that were brought centuries ago from the Americas. 2 of them can be found in the Alameda Apodaca. The other 2 lay near Caleta Beach. There are several commemorative sculptures in honor of the maritime life of the city along the Alameda Apodaca. There are other small monuments dedicated to Latin American and figures who participated in the events of La Pepa, first Spanish Constitution in 1812. Genovese Park was built in the late 18th century and has gone through several renovations until today. Genovese Park is delightful and is well looked after by the gardeners. An example is the trees cut into interesting shapes. The park has a more or less trapezoidal form and has its main entrance on the street González Tablas, with direct access to a wide central avenue, divided into 3 blocks by 2 rows of symmetrical parterres, where you can see the corners common American cypress in central California and date palms between the 2 species. Genovese Park shows many plants that were brought when Columbus' expedition discovered America. Many of the discoveries made by Spaniard explorers were new plants. This garden showcases some of the plants and can be seen more than 100 species of trees and shrubs. One of the favorite places for all visitors is the grotto, a lake with a waterfall where ducks live. From the top of the grotto, you can enjoy amazing sea views from the Atlantic Ocean. Inside the park is the Theatre Piman, which hosts music concerts in the summer. There is also a children's playground if you want to get rid of kids and relax having a beer at the bar. La Plaza de España is a large square close to the port. It is dominated by the monument to the Constitution of 1812, which came into being as a consequence of the demolition of a portion of the old city wall. The lower level of the monument represents a chamber and an empty presidential armchair. The upper level has various inscriptions surmounting the chamber. On each side, there are bronze figures representing peace and war. In the center, a pilaster rises to symbolize, in allegorical terms, the principles expressed in the 1812 Constitution. It has a 32 meters high, and it was built with the idea that ships arriving to the port could see the symbol of freedom. At the foot of this pilaster, there is a female figure known as La Pepa, who holds the Constitution. On her sides, it can be seen sculpture groupings representing agriculture and citizenship. The upper sculpture group illustrates the citizen marching into battle. War is also represented by the equestrian figure on the right, identified as Mars, the Roman god of war. The sculpture behind the monument is of Hercules, who founded Cadiz. Plaza España is surrounded by typical 18th century buildings, such as the merchants' houses, 4 towers and 5 towers, with their characteristics watchtowers. The House of 5 Towers has a ground floor with a water tank to collect rainwater and surrounded by storage areas for the merchandise. The offices were located on the mezzanine. The family living quarters was on the 2nd floor, while the 3rd floor was used as the servants' quarters. The original Gran Teatro was destroyed by a fire in August 1881. The original structure was constructed with wood. The current theatre was built at the beginning of the 20th century. The outside was covered in red bricks and is of a Moorish revival style. Once inside, you will notice that the theatre is in the form of a horseshoe. In the main facade, there are 3 horseshoe arches, like a triumphal arch. The outside shows red bricks with a white segments in a Madajar style. The theatre is much more modest in its interior materials, rich in color and detail. The ceiling is decorated with a large mural of Life in Paradise. Its premier performances are its annual carnival competitions. The rest of the year, it also hosts plays and musical concerts. The Cádiz Carnival is known through the world as a huge street party, 11 days of non-stop fun, originality and, more than anything else, mass participation. The whole city is transformed. The streets are filled with people with the intention of having a good time and making sure everyone else has a good time singing and enjoying themselves. The Fire Theatre competition sees more than 100 groups taking part, with highlights including particularly the chirigotas. Fancy dress is obligatory at the Cádiz Carnival, at least on the first Saturday. In the 18th century, Cádiz had more than 160 towers, from which local merchants could look out to the sea for arriving merchant ships. These towers often form part of the merchants' houses. The Tavera Tower stands as the tallest remaining watchtower, 45 meters above sea level. The structure of the tower is typical of this type of construction, a square floor plan, 2 stories high and wooden covered ceilings. The Tavera Tower is now open to the public, and you can experience for yourself the feeling of looking out over the city from the lookout point. It has a pinhole camera to project panoramic views of the old city onto a concave disc. The only watchtower that is different in the city is located in the street José del Toro and is the only one with an octagonal floor plan. It's popularly known as La Bella Escondida, the hidden beauty, as it is impossible to see it from street level and you can only look at it from the rooftops of other towers. The Tavera Tower is one of the best places to see it. Cádiz Market lies in the heart of Cádiz historic quarter, very close to the cathedral. It had been an edifice of significant architectural value. Built in 1841, it consisted of a quadrilateral neoclassical Doric portico, a square. The intervention proposal contains its restoration, the demolition of a central volume, and its replacement by another one which allows appreciating the old building through a contemporary architectural vision. Cádiz Market is the central nerve where locals come to socialize and catch up with old friends as well as they do their shopping. Here you will find fresh meats and seafood, handmade breads, rich fruits and vegetables, local-made cheeses, snails or rabbit. There are also non-food items like clothing and crafts. It is an essential to see the grace of the sellers and the curious sign that they have been placed. Don't make a market trip on Sunday because you will find closed doors. An early tourist attraction is the Roman salt fish factory, which is interesting because you can see how salt fish was made in Roman times, and then see the modern equivalent at the central market. Cadiz Cathedral is a Roman Catholic built between 1722 and 1838. It took 116 years to complete, so the mix of styles is evident. Construction began in the Baroque style and was completed in the neoclassical style. There are works of sculpture from the old cathedral in the interior. The towers and the sacristy were the last elements to be built in the 19th century. Particular highlights include the vaults of the high altar and the choir stalls, although the latter were not originally from the cathedral. The church is crowned with a dome of golden tiles, giving an imposing appearance. The famous composer Manuel de Falla is buried in the crypt. The Poniente Tower, located in the cathedral, is the highest tower of Cádiz and offers the best panoramic views of the city and the Atlantic Ocean. Since 2003, Poniente Tower has become a new tourist attraction in the city. The Cádiz Cathedral also has a museum that houses religious treasures, paintings and sculptures, as well as exhibitions of the city of Cádiz. The museum is inside a building called Casa de la Contaduría. Quarter El Populo is the heart of historical Cádiz. El Populo's stone gates were there to bid Christopher Columbus goodbye as he left the Cádiz harbor on his second trip in 1493. During the 17th and 19th centuries, the quarter was booming thanks to its proximity to the port and because many wealthy families call it their home. All narrow cobblestone streets were overlooked by tall ancient houses, tables and chairs spilling out of the bars onto the streets. One example is the Admiral's house, which is indeed a palace. Its facade is made of Italian marble. Its front gate is also spectacular. Unfortunately, you can only admire it from outside because it's a private residence. El Arco de los Blancos is the gate to the Populo district, built around the beginning of 14th century, and it was the principal gate to the medieval town. Close to El Populo are the ruins of a Roman theatre. It was only discovered in 1980, but it is believed to have been built in the 1st century before Christ. The church is actually the original Cadiz Cathedral. Before the new cathedral was built, its name is Santa Cruz Church. Founded by the Phoenicians as Gadir around 1100 years before Christ, Cádiz is thought to be the oldest town in Spain. The name Gadir means walled town, so the site has been fortified for over 3,000 years. One of the most significant monuments of the city, dividing the old town from today's part, is La Puerta de Tierra, Earth Door. The tower was built in late 1950s to operate as a tower of the telegraph between Madrid and Cádiz. By the 20th century, it was necessary to renew the entrance to the old part of the city to accommodate modern traffic. Today, the two side-by-side arches cut into the wall serve as one of the primary entrances to the old city. You can climb to the top of the tower, and there is an audio-visual display about the city's history, while the virtual hall recreates the 18th century Cádiz. Victoria Beach is immense and stretches to the end of the town. It is generally very wide, although it becomes narrower upon reaching the beach of Santa Maria del Mar. Although it is really one long beach, it has three names: Cortadura, Playa Victoria and Playa Santa Maria. There are multiple access points by ramp or steps. The promenade follows its course, skirting along the entire of town's coast. The walk has sections which are extended with benches and some seasonal kiosks. The beach has all the services and facilities: beach terra bars, American football posts, rugby, easy access, as well as a wonderful choice of restaurants on the promenade. It has a diving area as well. This beach has earned many years the Blue Flag, several quality certificates due to its neatness and consideration of best urban beach in Europe. The City Council organizes numerous activities in its endless sun, like gymnastics or games in the morning or outdoor movie night. Every month of August is the traditional barbecue Carranza trophy, so overnight the beach is filled with thousands and thousands of people to stay up all night eating and drinking with non-stop. Cadiz is compared with La Habana due to its landscape. One example is a walk along the waterfront of Cadiz from La Caleta at Southfield, where visitors will evoke the image of Malikan in La Habana. The James Bond movie Die Another Day filmed a sequence in Cadiz. Caleta Beach is without a doubt the most emblematic beach of Cadiz, the most picturesque. Admire how colorful fishing boats are tied together in the bright blue sea. Located next to Quarters La Viña, Caleta is the smallest beach of Cadiz and it is well equipped. There are bars and restaurants, and at the back of the beach is a promenade with palm trees. There are also two enormous big ficus trees. Central to the 360-meter-long beach is a white pavilion raised above the sun on pilings. On each side of the beach, two ancient reef structures extend into the Atlantic Ocean, calming the waters of La Caleta's harbor. Two castles flank and protect Caleta Beach. Connected to the shore, Santa Catalina Castle is the beach's northernmost point. In the distance, San Sebastian Castle and its long promenade form the southernmost border of the beach and bay. In the past, Santa Catalina Castle served to control the arrival of boats in the west and to prevent possible enemy landings. His defensive mission was completed after 1621 with the construction of the wall of La Caleta, reinforced by the bastions of Orellon, Vededor of La Caleta, and platforms of San Pedro and San Pablo on the same beach. Today, the castle has a public cultural use. San Sebastian Castle is a fortification located in an island 500 meters away from the coast. It is connected to the city through a jetty that provides pedestrian access to the fortification. During history, it has had the role of surveillance and communication, controlling the access to the bay through the Caleta. The shape of the island has dictated its irregular polygonal form. Its metallic lighthouse, built in 1913, is the only metallic lighthouse in Spain. Due to the bicentenary of the 1812 Constitution, the fortification has been refurbished. Its use will no longer be military, and it's pretended to be public to organize many kinds of events. Caleta sunset is one of the wonders of this world. Its peculiar red and orange colors and the contrast of the sea with the moon are unique. Taking a seat at the bar and enjoying a gin and tonic while you witness the Caleta sunset and listen to the breaking of the waves is priceless.